Welcome back to Where Tigers Walk. We are looking ahead to the final 5 games of Hull City season. We're recording this just before the Coventry game, but we've got lots to get off our chest because Hull fans aren't very happy, including Jack, Ben and Matty. And thank you for being alongside with us right then. Matty, we won't talk too much about the Watford game because it's in the past, but it was symbolic, I think, of a lot of what's going wrong with Hull at the moment. How worried are you that this is going to end in a disaster in 3 weeks' time?
Yeah, I think we were very kind of optimistic before the international break, thinking we've probably done enough to be safe, and then we've come back and we're just a completely different team. We're just off the pace. No fight, no urgency going forwards. We're not creating anything. It's a massive worry with the games coming up, and it just seems like all the teams around us have got a bit of fight in them. I know some teams lost on Saturday, but they still seem like they've got a bit of fight, and we don't seem like we have at the moment. And Sheffield Wednesday game was a poor game. We managed to scrape that, but Watford was just probably our worst performance of the season, and what a time to produce it. So yeah, it's concerning going into these last 5 games that we've got. So yeah, very kind of concerned about it.
Yeah, I mean, this was a common thread, Ben. John says, are the players actually aware that we're in a relegation battle? That was shocking in what was mostly winnable of our last 6 games. What's going on? I mean, Sheffield Wednesday was a great result, and that Charlie Hughes header we'll come on to in a minute. But why do the players look like they're just in the middle of pre-season games, or they look like that the season's over and they've already survived? What's going on?
I don't know. I think, like Matty said, and as you've said, after that international break, they've just sort of. It looks like they're cruising, and if you were to watch us without knowing where we were in the table, you'd think we're a mid-table side who have nothing left to play for. But it's just, I can't put my finger on it. There's just not enough urgency at times when you can tell that something really needs to happen and they need to go forward, they need to attack with it, and they just don't. It's just too slow, and there's not enough pace in the attack, even though that is our style. Ruben Selles wants us to play vertical football, get the ball from back to front as quick as we can, but it's just I don't want to say they don't look like they lack effort, because some of them do put it in, but there are some that don't really. In the 90 minutes, especially against Watford, there were some that you could pick out and say they've not put it in. Yeah, it's just a lack of effort, a lack of urgency. It's really concerning, I think, is the word, especially with how many games we have left.
Cheers for that. I mean, Jack, you were at Hillsborough for that win. Why is it that Hull cannot get back-to-back wins? Why is it you go from a great away win like we've seen at Sheffield last time, then you back it up with a poor performance at home, you go to Watford and put in such a you stink the place out? I mean, your last 6 games have been draw, win, draw, loss, win, loss. Can you explain it?
It could be arrogance. I mean, it wasn't the best of games against Sheffield Wednesday, I have to admit. I was getting a bit bored towards the 90th minute, then suddenly something happened to make the game the best game of the season. But yeah, it's just, I don't know, whenever we hype something up and we try to get a full stadium, we try and do loads of things for the fans, reduce ticket prices, we put on loads of shows and everything, we seem to do worse. There's loads of home games have happened like that, reduced prices. I think Luton, we had 24,000 fans, and it was probably one of the worst games of the season. But then Sheffield Wednesday away, I know we've been better away, but we just seem to do something when we're not at home. It might be the nerves. It could be something to do with nerves, anxiety. I don't know. It's just little things that are really affecting the way we play at home at the moment, and it's really hard to get our head around. I mean, I don't know when last time I won back to back. I mean, I could go down the list, but I can't remember. Could it be somewhere back in the future? But honestly, I mean, knowing Hull City, it might be possible we win all 4 of our next games, but we could also lose all 4 of the next games. So it's a really difficult one. We're just such an inconsistent team this season, and I hope it changes next season.
Cheers for that. Danny says the performances since the international break have been utterly disgraceful, Matty. We could be in the relegation zone by the time we kick off against Coventry, even you're not because of that late Portsmouth equaliser and Stokes winner, but you wouldn't guess it given the way the Plymouth players before me. Krupi says garbage for the entire 90 minutes. So where do we go from here then, Matty? Because performances like Watford and others and Luton in the next 4 games, we'll see you relegated, won't it? That will be almost certain to call out. So, other than motivational speakers, is there any formations or players that need to come in or need to be dropped? What would you be doing as a coach of this side right now?
I think we do need to play our best players, and I think that's still something that Selles does rotate a lot. And I was a little bit disappointed that Crooks started it, to be honest. He's not really had the massive impact that I think we all wanted him to have. And you've got Casey Palmer sitting on the bench there. You know, he must be wondering what he's got to do to start. So for me, he's got to start because he's one of our most creative players. He has to start. He does. Joseph is just not in form. He just needs to come out of the team. You know, we need to have some consistency in that front line. Pedro has to come back in. Well, he did come back in, but he didn't really do much. I don't really know. It's just the problem that we've had all season is we can't defend crosses, which we've struggled to do all season. And we're still struggling on crosses to defend that, and we haven't scored enough, and that is the crux of it, to be honest. So I don't know. We'll probably just need a bit of luck, but I think we just need to put in we just need to play our strongest team, play the strongest team possible. You know, get our creative players in there. You know, I think for me, we've got to win. I think we've got to win 2 of these games, and I would be targeting Preston and Derby as our ones that we can win. We don't want to be going to Portsmouth on the last game of the season with you know, when we're like 1 point ahead or 2 points ahead. It's just not going to work. So best team out, and then, you know, go from there. And like Puerta, I know Puerta was injured and stuff, but he's got to start Puerta. Got to. You know, we can't be carrying players at this time of the season. Best team out and go for it.
Is the Coventry a bit of a free hit, Ben?
I don't know if we have any. I think every single game has got to be one that we have to play properly for. We can't really rely on it. Just because they're in a good position doesn't mean we get away with it. Because all the remaining 4 games, like you've shown on screen, are tough. It is a tough run-in. I know a while back we said we had one of the easiest ones, but when we look at the stage we're at now and where we are on the table, it is going to be really difficult. Especially those last 2 games. Derby are going to be scrapping for their lives. Portsmouth maybe just clear, but they're still not 100% safe. So yeah, I don't think we can call it as a free hit. We've got to play with the idea of winning the game, even though they are flying high. But yeah, it is going to be a very, very tough game, though, that is for sure.
I don't think a point's a bad result, to be honest, you know, against Coventry. Yeah. I think a point is a positive. It puts us 5 points clear, does it? You know, that's effectively with our goal difference. I think that's not a bad result against Coventry. I don't want us to, but, you know, a point would be all right, I think, at this stage.
It might help you to hear that Cardiff fans reckon that they're gone. They are stinking the place out, and Luton fans are saying they're gone. They've gone as well. Plymouth might be the ones that surprise us all.
That's the thing, that it just keeps changing. Like Plymouth were 5 points off the other day, and now they're right back in it. So
it has amazed me how many neutrals want Hull to go down, given how much money you spent last year. It isn't a case of everyone just want Plymouth to stay up. Jack, what would be the cost of relegation be to Hull, do you think? I don't mean in terms of financially, but in terms of what relegation would do for the city being back in League One, the attendances, the players, the feeling that people get from having this club in the Championship and potentially Premier League? What does it? Can you quantify it?
Well, there'll be utter disappointment. I think knowing our fan base, a lot of the blame will be pointed at the owner, because we tend to do that. No matter what happens, it's always pointed at the owner. But to be honest, I think the fans will realise that we've got a decent manager if he sticks with us, which we don't know. And some players will probably leave, so we'll have to start again. So it'll be heartbreaking and annoying and egregious. But I think we can get ourselves out of League One. I'm saying that, but you never know with Hull City, do you? So yeah, the City will. The attendances will inevitably drop. No one wants to watch us in League One. It just happens, unfortunately. It's just how fan bases work. I'm sure if we went to the Premier League, it'd be the opposite. The whole stadium would be packed. It's just the truth, and it's annoying. But yeah, it'll just be a bit depressing, really, to be back in League One. But I'll stick, and I'll still go. I'm sure you two lads will still go. It's a shame that we just might not be on the podcast next year. So, and that's a reality. But yeah, I don't actually think we'll go down. But if it does happen, then tough luck. We can go again and dig ourselves out.
There's worse sides than you, Matty. Cheers for that, gentlemen. There's worse sides than Hull. Would this be the best worst side to go down? If that makes sense.
I don't think so. And I think we've kind of covered this over the season. I don't think there's a particularly strong team in the league. I think it's just come down to consistency and churning the results out. We've been to. You only have to look at Plymouth beating Sheffield United on Saturday, and us going to Sunderland. We've beat Sheffield United. We've drawn with Leeds. So I don't think it is. There's much difference between a lot of the teams, to be honest. So, and I don't think this is the best team we've ever had. I think defensively, if it was last season and we went down, then we'd have been absolute travesty. But I don't think it's the best team we've had. But we should be higher than what we are based on the recruitment that we've done. But the recruitment was bad last season, so the recruitment we needed to make was the striker. And I think now we know kind of halfway through this season that we need to strengthen defensively. Because I thought we were okay last season. I thought the players going in we were fine. But I think we struggled to score goals all season. That's been our key, really. I don't think defensively we're that bad, but going forward we are shocking. We don't score enough goals, so that's the key factor, isn't it? Goals keep you up, and I think we're just lucky that we've been defensively quite sound, but yeah, probably our goal difference is going to make a massive difference. We've got a decent goal. I think -9 we're on at. We're compared to some of the other teams. I think Derby are the only closest team closest to us in terms of that. So yeah, we've been lucky in terms of that. But yeah, I don't think it's the worst team that we the team that went down before, when was that, 2020, whenever it was. That was awful compared to this team, So, yeah, we're not that bad. I don't think.
Just finally on this topic, Ben. This time last season, you were battling Norwich for the last promotion playoff place. Here we are now scrapping for survival. If you were to be relegated, who would you personally blame, and who would you think the fan base collectively would point the finger at? We've already heard that it could be Ashen, and that's fine. But I don't hear, for example, the board getting criticised or the director of recruitment being criticised. Where would you squarely put this season's failure at?
Tim Walter. I think ultimately the decision to bring him in was quite clearly, now looking back on it, the wrong one. We could have probably got someone a bit different, someone a bit more proven. There were a lot of names that were still there the second time we were looking for a manager originally and the first time, and any of them would have probably done a decent job at keeping us mid-table, at least steering us clear of a relegation battle. But I think it has to go to Tim Walter, just how naive he was to change, and it just led us all the way down to the rock bottom of the table. That winless run of games up until he went that was, I think, the most damaging part, because that's where, after so many games, you're just losing. That's so many points missed, and you're in that form, and it's so hard to turn that back on its head and get out of it. So I think it's got to go down to him. I think, for me anyway. I think the fans will probably pick on Atchun for the Rossini decision and all that sort of stuff, which is sort of understandable, but I think it's got to be down to Ruben's predecessor, I'm afraid.
Okay. You agree, Jet?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, I just think that as soon as he came in, the first few games, I was like, what's happened? What club are we? Who are we? And since then, we've just never been able to recover. So, yeah.
Okay. Right, well, we can't have Hull in League One. I know we're talking quite depressingly. We're not having it. Okay, you might lose a country.
Keep the faith.
You'll beat Preston. You will beat Preston. You might get a draw against Swansea, and that'll be 4 points, and that'll see you clear, because I can't see Cardiff, Plymouth, and Luton all overturning that. And I think you've even got Plymouth and Stoke and Derby in between you as well. So we're not having it, and then we reset again and go again next year. Yeah, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Love your confidence. Love the confidence.
Yes.
Yeah. You see, I don't watch Hull every week. Why I can say all this.
You're lucky.
I didn't watch. I didn't go to Watford like you guys. Yeah. Right. We're choosing our player of the season now. It's been a long old season. And talking about Hull City, there must be a couple of players in here for a shout. So we're asking each of you to put yours forward. In the comments, if you put yours for us, who should get the Hull City player of the season? Ben, let's start with you.
I think it might be a popular choice. It's going to have to be Pandor for me. There's a couple of fairly decent shouts. I'll let the lads talk about them. I won't steal all of them. But I think, for me, Pandor has been the one consistent player in every game. He's had a couple of very odd moments where he's looked a bit shaky, but after such a strange start, to be honest, in pre-season, where he was quite poor, and I wasn't very confident, literally as soon as we got into the championship games, he's kept us in plenty of games. Most importantly, that Sheffield Wednesday one recently, where he pulled off some unbelievable saves after we'd scored. So for me, it has to be Ivor Pandor.
Brilliant. Jack?
I'll say one because Matt, I'll let Matt have a chance. I'm going to go for Puerta. I know we discussed him. Sorry if it was going to be yours, Matty, but we've discussed him a lot recently on the podcast. I just think he's been one of those players that's just created a lot of chances. I think he scored one or two as well. It's just all over the pitch. He puts in a brilliant shift every single game. I know he's had a injury, he's had a red card, and he's had illnesses. But whenever he is within the team, it's a completely different team with him. So that's one player I hope we can get next season. Is he on loan or is he permanent? I can't really remember.
He's on loan.
He's on loan. Okay.
Yeah. Loan to buy, I think.
Okay, I'd take. I know I said this, but I'd buy him. I'd sign him up.
Okay, Matty, you can have one of those or your own.
Well, I think Pandor will probably get it. I think like Ben says, he's probably been our most consistent. Well, he has been our most consistent player, and he's kept us in so many games. He's been pivotal in the wins that we've got. He's been really pivotal. But I'll probably give a mention just to Charlie Hughes, just to say how much he's kind of, since he's come back in, how more solid we do look, particularly in a leaky defense. Well, leakiest defense that we've got. He is the one mainstay that is kind of a rock in there, and he's going to grow into somebody who's going to be hopefully an inspirational leader for us if we can keep hold of him. I think that's the only issue, if we can keep hold of him. But I would, I'd say he's definitely in with a shout as well. But my vote would go to Pandor. I think he's been outstanding all season.
Great shouts all around. Thank you very much. Finally, this week we are asking you to choose the championship player of the season, not just the whole player. So which player has impressed you the most as you've been an opposition fan? So you're not allowed to choose a whole player. This one, surprisingly, you probably wouldn't anyway. But as most of you have travelled to all the away games and home games, which one player, when they've played against Hull, have you been most impressed with, or you think has torn you apart, or you've been impressed defensively? So, Jack, let's start with you.
It might be an obvious one, but it's a Burnley player. When I went to Turf Moor, I can't remember it was a couple of months ago, and we got beat 2-0. I think Zian Fleming was absolutely incredible all game. But I was also going to say that the full back line of Burnley are just incredible, even when they came to us and when we went to them. There's one centre back that I can remember. I can't remember his name. I think he's French. He's very tall. Yes, he's absolutely incredible. So if I'm going to give a couple, actually, it's Fleming and Esteve. Is it? Yeah.
Steve.
Yeah, he's yes. He was when we had a counter attack, he was just always there, always blocking the ball. And I was just like, who is this guy? We just could never ever get past the defense. But they've also got some attacking quality, and hence why they're probably going to be in the Premier League next season. So yeah, Zian Fleming, and him.
Matty?
I think if you're going on players that have come to I've seen probably live, is it the Korean lad from Junho? Is it from Stoke? Is it him?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd be interested to see what Stoke fans think of him. But when he came to our place, I think he's been the best player that's come. I think every team that has had kind of a Korean or a Japanese player in them that have come to Hull have been outstanding. So that's where we need to recruit next year. Go in the Asian market and sign somebody. So he's been outstanding. I think probably is it Wilson Isidore at Sunderland when he came and when they played us. I think he's a proper striker, and that's what we kind of need. Hold the ball up. He was quick. He's fast. I know his goal that he scored against us was controversial, but he had a lot of work to do. From his own half to kind of score that. So, yeah, they're two good shouts for me for the players that I've seen, best players I've seen.
And Ben?
Yeah, one of mine was going to be Isidore, and the other one, following on from Matty's, Japanese Ayo Tanaka, I think that's how you pronounce his name. Yeah. The Leeds, that goal he scored was unbelievable, and it's such a painful thing to say because he plays for that team, unfortunately, but he's such an unbelievably talented player. He's still young. They signed him for peanuts. I don't know how they managed to get that. Just watching him was, I'm not going to say a joy to watch because watching Leeds is never a joy to watch, but it was nice to watch a player with that amount of skill. Unfortunately, he did score against us, but we didn't lose the game. So, yeah, I think he is an honourable mention. I think he was a very good player when he came to the MKM.
Okay. All good shots.
Another one you could have thrown in there was the QPR Asian player. Is it Seta?
Yeah.
Again,
they've all scored against us.
All scored against us.
All been brilliant. Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of players, especially when we're at home. You can say there's a lot of opposition players who've been brilliant against us. So
yeah.
Take your pick, watchers.
That's right, yeah. Must be travelling east. That's what it's full of. Right. Thank you very much, all of you, this week. 3 more to go. Crikey, where's the time gone? Join us in 7 days' time when we review 3 games. We review the Coventry game. We'll review how the game has gone, of course, this Friday, against Swansea, and the Preston game on Good Monday, Easter Monday. By then, Hull, we hope, will be safe. So next time I see you 3, we'll have smiles on our faces as we celebrate putting our feet up.
I wear my party hat.
The season. And you can put camera on against Portsmouth and send them down. There you go. Right. Have a good one. See you in 7 days.
Thank you.
Cheers.